Boy, everything is acting up today. Gremlins. It is about that time. We're about a week away from Christmas. That wasn't even a planned joke. That just came out naturally. We are back, ABJ Podcast. Very, very excited about this one. Once again, we are pre-recording a lot of these, so that's not live. So if you're in the chat trying to talk to me and you're like, Tony, why are you not talking to me? It's 2024. It's called a comment section. It's not a live chat all the time. All right, so relax. So also, if you're listening to this not live and on a podcast format, we do have ways that you can support. There is that 5-star review goes a long way. Screenshot this and send it to us on social media and say, hey, we absolutely hated this conversation, or we loved it, which is probably going to be your loved it. And then also we have links for myself and for my guests. You can support them all on their pages below. Ours, you can go and grab some merchandise, t-shirts, all that stuff for myself or them, but all that's going to be below so you can show that support. I don't want to wait any longer because I'm really pumped for this. So I'm going to bring in my guest tonight. I'm going to introduce them for a little bit, but I'm going to let them give their full introduction. But let's bring in Tyler, or how I know them most of the time as Alanis.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm stoked for this. We've hung out a couple times at shows.
Absolutely.
And got to know each other a little bit, and you were probably the first performer, we'll say, because I don't want to bury the lead for people who they see the thumbnail. I don't know why I'm trying to make this. Yeah. First time I seen you perform in drag, and then I seen you backstage, and I was like, oh, it's a difference. Like, you're good at, like, you're everyone. I feel like if you're not good at your makeup, then there's no change. And I think that's a fun thing. Like, that's like going in the back and a masked wrestler takes their mask off, and you're like, why the hell do you wear a mask? First off,
like, who are you?
every masked wrestler. I don't know how much you're into pro wrestling you are in, but every masked wrestler is attractive. I don't know. Mm-hmm. You would think that they wouldn't be, and they would hide the fact that they're ugly. That's not the case. They're probably better looking. There should be people in masks that are not, and these.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh my God.
All right, so let's tell the audience who you are and what do you do.
Absolutely. So yeah, I am Tyler Graham. I am a drag performer that goes by Alanis, Moresex. I am not only a drag performer, I am a photographer and actually a DJ now as well. So love to keep busy if you can't tell.
Now, it'd be crazy if you had two clientele for your DJing. Like, there's some people who book Tyler and then some people book Alanis. And you should you DJ and drag.
Yep. I have not actually. I can't even say that. I have DJ'd in drag already. I was the DJ for a Pride festival back in June. But yeah, other than that, it's primarily been as Tyler, and then every now and then Alanis will make an appearance behind the booth. But yeah.
Now, how much, before we get into our main questions, how much are you in like drag? Like I know some drag performers, they see it more like a business. Like, almost anytime you see them, they're probably in drag. Do you tote that line still, or do you have a very like a Tyler life or an Alanis life? Or are they kind of merged into one?
A lot of the time now they're merged into one, especially with everything that I do. I might meet clients and friends in drag, but we would be talking about DJing or photography, needing to book for photo shoots, or vice versa. So, but the fun thing is that, especially if I am going to another show to support friends, if I'm not in drag at a drag show, some people know me outside of drag and others don't. So it's great getting to interact with that. But then being able to sort of flip that, I'd definitely say probably like 50-50, depending on where I am.
Yeah, it's like Trixie Mattel like does most of anything in drag, and then when you don't see them in drag, it's like a special thing. So it's funny, and it's like even the pro wrestling world. Some guys are talent in the locker room will go in public and they're like, "Hey, your wrestling name," and then people are like, "Oh yeah, that's me. Hey,
yep,
yeah."
I was actually just at a concert in Philly on Tuesday, or actually, I don't even remember when it was. Anyway, I was at a concert and I looked over and I saw another drag performer, and I just looked at them and I'm like, you look so familiar, but I can't put like face to the name. I can't do any of that. So I walked up and I introduced myself, and they were like, you look so familiar too. And the second we exchanged our drag names, we're both like, that's where we know you from. Haven't
Yeah.
seen her outside of drag, but yeah, it's just one of those things. If you're getting better at your makeup, sometimes that's a good thing then.
Yeah, absolutely. How often is it that you meet performers at shows or you're at different shows and you only really met them like in that situation? Like how is there someone you've been friends with for a while that it took a long time for you to see them out of drag?
Actually, yeah. A lot of my drag performers, like even my drag mom, I don't think I've known my drag mom for years, Divinity Cruise, and I can honestly say I think I've maybe seen her out of drag 2 or 3 times. I know them outside of drag, but I just never see them outside of drag. But yeah, there are a lot of people that are like that. The only caveat would be like if I'm FaceTiming, but
Yeah.
out in public, 9 times out of 10, I probably see them in drag more than I do outside.
Mhm. So when did you fall in love with the industry of drag? We'll stick with drag, but also
Yeah.
if you want to throw the DJ and photography in there, please as well.
Yeah. So for me, I came out when it was about 6 years ago now. And actually it was 6 years ago. And it was getting to really rediscover who I was as a person and getting to figure out more about myself.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was in a relationship. After that relationship, I started to try and do more things that I sort of let go by the wayside. So one
Mhm.
of those was musical theater. And I loved doing theater in high school, but then sort of dropped off from it. And then when I picked it back up, being able to put yourself in a different persona, in a different field, no matter what show you're a part of, really that's what opened the floodgates. I had drag friends. I've been to numerous drag shows before then, but being able to sort of put yourself into that world sort of helped introduce me into wanting to be a drag performer. So then being able to sit down with other drag friends, go backstage, and really marry the 2 together to be able to discover a different side of me that I like to say was always there, but was just very buried by a lot of religious stuff. So, but yeah, it was I've
As I
been
wear
doing
my
drag for
Satan,
about
as I show off my Satan hoodie.
I mean, this might open up a floodgate of questions for you, but I actually was going to school. I wanted to be a youth pastor.
Oh yeah?
So I went to a private Christian high school. I was going to go to a Bible college. I was going to go to seminary. I was going to do all of that. But then ended up going to Shippensburg University for art. And I joined our programming board, and the very first event that I had to MC for was a drag show. And I will never forget. I won't say the the RuPaul Queen because they are now controversial and
Gotcha.
um,
I learned
are
about
not.
this one, I think. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I learned
are
they
not.
they they were really popular early on in
Yep.
drag queens. Yeah, so I started in season 1. I'm not all
Yeah.
the way through yet. Yeah, yeah.
So, but I remember I saw pictures of them as to who I was going to MC for, and I walked into the dressing room and they were not in drag, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm looking for so and so," and they just raised their hand. They're like, "Hi, hun, that's me." I closed the door, looked at my mentor, and I was like, "What the hell am I MCing right now?"
You
And the
are
rest is
literally
history.
you are literally the like I'm literally listening to your story, and when you started with the conservative, like Christian conservative, my brain immediately went to like far right version. Like I don't believe this, but you know how you have like everyone has that character they play of the
Yep.
person they don't like. So that character activated, and then you told me your story. I was like, that is the blueprint of what they're trying to do. They went to liberal arts college and became gay in a drag show. Like,
I I love I love being able like, especially if I'm at a show or if I'm asked to, like, tell something about myself or tell something people might not know. That is always my go-to because everyone's jaw just drops, especially when I'm in drag because 'cause they're like, "What the fuck?" where did you go from there to here?
Yeah. Well, I taught youth Bible school a couple times. Like I was like
Okay.
the white kid, like only white kid in the all black church. Like
Okay.
it was awesome. I was in the choir. I wasn't good. They thought it was funny.
I love that.
No rhythm at all. I'm trying to sister act it. I couldn't do it. But yeah. So so you kind of went into a little bit of how you got your start, but when did
Mhm.
you really start stepping back and you're like, oh, this is something I want to do, and that process, I guess, for wrestling questions, this is more like, how
Yeah.
did you find your wrestling school? How did you find your drag mother?
Yeah, so Divinity was probably one of the very first performers that I saw, like, as an adult, um, perform, and we just instantly hit it off. Like, I just went up to her and was just like, "You were so amazing, like, oh my god, like, I can't believe you just did that," like, it was just absolutely incredible, and from there, it's I have so many friends that I've been able to go backstage with, like Trixie Valentine, that I know that you've already interviewed already,
Mhm.
um, and being able to have those friends that I'm able to just pick their brains to be like, "Why did you just start doing drag? Like, what made you want to do this?" And I think it was the collective having that persona and having that other identity inside you that wants to come out and to have a good time and to allow others to have a good time. I love performing no matter if it's in drag or out of drag, which is hence why I DJ and do musical theater. It's I love performing and allowing people to have a good time. But that's sort of how it got started, was just having those conversations. And then for Divinity to be my drag mom, it was I wanted somebody that could see the value or could at least see the potential in me, but that would also allow me to flourish as my own person and
Mhm.
not, I guess, a carbon copy of her, which she would never do. And yeah, it's I can't thank her enough for being able to, or being able to see me for who I am as a drag performer and wanting to see me grow even more.
Yeah. What so every I feel like every drag queen kind of has their arsenal, right? There's something that makes them stand out, whether their makeup, their costumes, their hair, their what do you think you bring to the table? Maybe from like the performing arts side of things or all that. Like, what do you bring to the table in drag? Do you think um are your bright spots?
Yeah. I mean, I am such a self-deprecating person, and I know the second that this comes out, I will get a text message of being like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Why did you say that?" Um, but I know that I have so much to work on and so many things to grow in, but I think for me, I love being able to bring the musical theater side of things when I can perform live. I know I'm not the best singer, but I know I will at least do something that will allow the audience to engage and to really be involved with it. I don't
Yeah.
just want a bunch of people to be staring at me as I'm performing. I want people to be singing along. I want people to get up and dance. I That's what I absolutely crave. So it's sometimes I will do an outlandish number like Rocky. I do Rocky Horror sometimes, and being able to do stuff like that where people are like, "Oh shit, was not expecting that." So I
Who
think
all have
being
you
able to
played in
marry
Rocky
that.
Horror?
I'm sorry?
Who all have you played so far in Rocky Horror?
So I've actually just been a phantom. I've just been the, sex crazed lunatic of Frankenstein Place,
Okay.
um, of Dr. Frankenfurter's castle. So I've done Rocky 3 times now. This past, October, at Mickey's Black Box was the 3rd time.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love I did not watch it this year Halloween, which is not like me, but I listened to the album at least 3 times. I don't
Oh,
like musicals. I love that one. It's my absolute favorite.
oh, yeah, I will never forget, I did not ever watch Rocky because of how I grew up. Rocky Horror was not played
Yeah.
in my household, I didn't watch Rocky all the way through until about 2 weeks before the very first time I stepped on stage doing it.
Wow.
We went through 3 months of rehearsals, still never watched it, got drunk at my director's house and ended up watching it there. But yeah, it's seriously one of my favorite musicals and things to be a part of.
Yeah, absolutely. I usually try to go to 1 or 2 performances because like so many places do it around that time of the year, but I missed like all of them. It sucked.
Yeah.
So the beginning stages of finding yourself within drag, what were those early days like? And what were some of the struggles you had with it?
Yeah, I think number 1 is, and I still struggle with this, is comparing myself to other people. I am a perfectionist. I am the hardest person on myself. So it's comparing myself to others, even though Trixie Valentine and I had this conversation before where she's been doing it for several years. And there would be times where I would share the stage with her and I would compare myself to her. And she's like, or they're like, why are you comparing yourself to me when I've been doing this several years more than you? You should be comparing yourself to you. And I think like that's still my struggle.
Yeah.
It even comes down to like the makeup too, where the very first time that I stepped on stage was actually my own show that I put together in Hershey.
Hmm.
And to this day, I will look at pictures and I will text my friends that were there and I'm like, why the fuck did you let me out on stage looking like that? Because I looked atrocious. But yeah, it's just finding yourself and finding how you're comfortable and learning to grow. I'm still growing my makeup 2 years later. I'm still growing as a performer 2 years later. I never want to stop growing because I feel like if you stop growing, you're not enjoying it anymore.
Yeah. I will say this, what you're saying before about comparing yourself to others, which this is maybe psychologically, if someone's a doctor, don't text me, but I think that's kind of healthy though, in a way. And maybe it's the male toxicity pouring
Yeah.
out of me right now, but like I think a little healthy mind state of like comparing yourself to like if I'm in drag and I was in an early stage and I got a chance to work with someone like Trixie, I would be like, all right, well, what do they do that I like? What do they have that I need to have? Like, I compare myself to them, but in a way of like, well, I dissect them of like what makes them good and what qualities can I have to put me on that same level.
Absolutely.
Like, if I'm not comparing myself to you, it's not that I feel like I'm above you, but in a way I do. You know what I mean? Because like I look
Yeah.
at people as tiers, as I don't know. I'm just like, all right, that person's that rung. How did they get
Mhm.
there? I mean, not because I want to be at the same level. I just want to
Mhm.
learn because if like just a
Yeah.
natural progression, you know?
Yeah, and I think it comes down to not like, of course, everyone has their favorite performers no matter what industry you're in.
Mhm.
I have, like, my favorite DJs, my favorite photographers that I love to get inspiration from. But even, like, my friends in drag of looking at Divinity, who is absolutely phenomenal. I've seen her perform dozens of times already. My friend Icy Hottie, like it's these people that I see put on an amazing show and they all have their different personas, their different styles, whether they're dancing or if they're singing or they're putting on a huge production. It's everyone has their own style. And I think being able to not emulate it, but get inspiration from, I think is huge because that shows how much you want to grow as a person and you
Yeah.
want to still develop who you are as a performer.
100% agree. The name. How did we land on the name? And I guess the part 2 to this would be, and also the look, because that's just
Mhm.
as important as the name in drag as well, because you're developing this persona, this character, this everything about it.
Yeah. Um, I to this day, I don't really know. I think it was just I woke up one day and Alanis Moresex just popped into my head, but Alanis Morissette is one of my all-time favorite singers. I finally got to see her live. I think this was a year ago now, and I lost my voice. I was crying in the stands. My friend is like, "Are you okay?" I was like, I'm fine. Just let me alone." But yeah, I think it was more so that because Alanis to me embodied the I don't give a fuck mentality. Like she to me was obviously I was born in 92. So being able to grow up with her and see how she was unapologetically herself. She made the music she wanted to make. She acted the way she wanted to act. She wore and dressed the way that she wanted to. And it was wanting to emulate that in my own drag, where for 25 years, I was a certain type of way. I was a certain type of person. I was the Christian kid that would wear those Jesus shirts all the time. That would be like a Reese's logo on the shirt, but instead it just said Jesus.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I was that
I
I
would
was
wear
that one.
those ironically, my
Mhm.
favorite one I've ever seen was at a Dollar General, and it was Jesus, but it was the NASCAR logo because I thought they went so hand in hand.
Yep. That was me.
And then
I
I'd be drinking a beer while you know what I mean?
I I swear I have some of them somewhere. I don't know why I still have them, but I swear I have them, and one day I will burn them all. But, yeah, it was I was a certain way. I was, uh, thought that I had to be a certain way. So then when I finally came out and I started my drag persona as Alanis, it was liberating to the point where even the more sex type of thing. Mom, dad, if you're watching this, shut this off. But it's the more sex because to me, it's everyone needs more sex in their life because then maybe everyone will stop being such a bitch.
Yeah.
Um, but
Mom, if
yeah,
you're
it's
listening, fucking
yeah.
figure it out. Jesus Christ. We have different relationships with our parents.
Yeah, right.
I'm about to call somebody for my mom.
There
Sorry, dad.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, it's for me, and this goes the style hand in hand too of the punk rock emo vibe of
Yeah, she's way ahead of her time. She was
yes.
punk rock and emo before punk rock and emo.
Oh, absolutely. And it's again, it was just unapologetically her. It's she helped put that her music and everything that made you feel something, but then also made you want to explore more of yourself. And I think for
Yeah.
me, that's sort of what I want to embody as a drag performer.
I think it says a lot about you too as a music fan of like who's your I want to say when I say this term, I'm only saying it because like it could be her or one other person, but like, well, who's your Madonna? Who's your
Mhm.
Cher? Yeah, there's a generation of like who's your like Alanis is probably a
Yep.
large generation's version of like, oh, I watched my mom idolize Cher. Now I'm an Alanis kid. And then there's like, well, I'm a Paramore kid or I'm a No Doubt kid. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Like there's so many ways that can go.
Well, and it's funny because again, with the way that I was raised, I loved Christian music growing up, like Christian rock, all of that, loved it. But on the flip
Yeah,
side of things,
you were in deep. You were in
oh,
deep.
very much. That can be a
That's deep.
whole other podcast in and of
Yeah.
itself.
I have so many questions, but I don't want to be disrespectful because I don't know
Oh my god, you can ask away.
like how are you guys are you how did you is your whole family removed from that or just you? Are they still like was it
Um,
like, coming out and being you? Was it accepted? Like I don't want to be disrespectful to like yeah.
no, I am
I'm this straight white dude trying to learn about your I have no idea how this even works.
no, you're totally fine. It's
Coming out
funny.
stories and vaginas. I'm lost. You know what I mean?
No, it's like as far as like what my family and all of them believe, that part I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, for me, I I probably up until I was about 25, 24, 25, which is about the time that I was getting ready to come out, um, is when I really distanced myself from the church. And I really distanced myself from a lot of people, including family. When I came out, I it was not accepted with a lot of my extended family. I grew up with a very tight-knit family,
Mhm.
and I was told by, family members that I should not come around, because they didn't want to expose their children to my lifestyle that I chose. Um, and that hurt a lot because when I came out, the other thing that I also came out to discuss with people was I've actually been suicidal a good part of my life. And a lot of it was from me being gay and how I was raised and what I was taught to think.
Mhm.
And so for family that blood is thicker than water, you should always love your family, blah, 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 all that bullshit. It's that hurt a lot. So then once I came out and I learned who my real family are and my chosen family, I really distanced myself and I haven't talked to majority of my family since I came out. I think I've
Mhm.
seen them once in 6 years, and it's I'd much rather not have people like that in my life if me just trying to be happy is upsetting for them.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like that's one of the things like when I hear like how you said it took I was about 6 years, you know, and you said you came out. And I'm not trying to put your age down, but like
No, you're good.
you've been around a minute, you know what I mean? You're not a teenager obviously. Like, you know, we're
Mhm,
we're paying bills, you know, but like even to be an adult and realize that, you know, more than half your life was something that wasn't comfortable for you or who you
mhm.
were like. And I don't know how I would feel like I the only thing I can assimilate it to is being picked on and bullied, but like growing up in the school I grew up in, getting picked on and bullied would be like being called homophobic names.
Yep,
And I couldn't even imagine if I really was, or someone who would be, or someone who was not even getting picked on, but would hear that and be like, oh my God, I'm not coming out. They're going to kill me here. You know what I mean? Like that
yep.
genuine fear of all that. And I just, it saddens me that you have to like hide who you are for that long in your life. And unfortunately, I've had a story too where someone rather not be here than take a chance of losing their family and friends. So like it's
Mhm.
heartbreaking. But also I'm very proud and I'm happy that you came out because now you can be that. You know what I mean? Like it's such a double-edged sword. Like it's you hear like I came out and you're like, "Oh, awesome." And you're also like, "Oh, I hope everything was okay." Like with the like the transition,
Yeah,
you know? Yeah.
yeah, and that's the thing, like, I love that's why even, like, getting to perform at pride festivals of seeing little kids that are there, especially in these fucked up times that we live
Oh
in.
my God. I was
Um
like, "Yeah, we're moving ahead. This is so much better than what it
Yes,
was." And then
yep,
it just turn the
yep.
car around.
Certain, individuals that are now going to be in office, along with a lot of their fucked up people that
Mhm.
we are not a majority. LGBTQ people are not the majority in America, and to have people that are taught to love each other as they would love themselves, to treat others as God would want them to be treated, but apparently ripping that out of the Bible and then doing the complete opposite in the name of God.
Mhm.
Again, I don't really believe that anymore,
Yeah.
but it's the fact of you wanna go and say that you're a good person and God would want this and blah, 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 but but God wouldn't, and
Mhm.
that's the part that gets me is, um, the whole love thy neighbor apparently gets thrown out, and we are now a pariah to those people that we
Yeah.
are, uh not good enough to live, and I
Yeah.
just don't understand how it's going to be 2025, and we are going back to, what, the 1930s?
Yeah. It's
Even farther
terrifying.
back if that, but yeah.
It's absolutely terrifying. This is actually the first time like on a public platform I'm saying this, but like I've definitely drew my line in the sand a long time ago where I am when it comes to racism and homophobia, and then add transphobia to the list because like I
Yep.
didn't really think people hated that much until that became a thing. You're like, oh, like
Mhm.
that's like the new like, yeah.
Yep.
You're like, whew, I'm getting gay hate, but I'm not getting trans hate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they go above and beyond, which is
Yep.
unbelievable. Yeah. But it's I was at a job and I was really excited and I got a leadership position in this company that I was very hard fought for a long time to even land something like that.
Mhm.
And I come to work and I get greeted with, "Hey, we seen your podcast," and I was like, "Okay." And at
Mm.
this time, I'm interviewing drag performers. I'm openly going to drag shows. I'm openly going to pride events. I'm also into pro wrestling, which is pretty gay too. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But it's I actually we have a flag, a drag fan, but it's a wrestler named Effie, and his brand is called Wrestling is Gay.
I
And like
love that.
anything he makes with some of those I think he takes like Trevor Project and stuff, but he's an
Okay.
openly gay wrestler, has openly like they're called Effie's gay brunches, and everybody on the show is part of the community. It's
That's
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, they're like bringing the queer community out in pro wrestling. Like we're here, and this is our whole federation, and it's
Yeah.
sick. It's so good. But yeah, so at the job, I'm there, and just slowly and surely, just being clearly targeted or not
Mhm.
being trained on how to do things and not being told things and just kind of somehow I'm the lead but I'm cleaning more than everybody else and I'm
Yep.
never in my like I'm not allowed to be in the office and then democratic jokes start flying and then they start
Yep.
seeing how much they can say to me and then exposing more racism homophobia and
Mhm.
it was 100% because of the man they voted for and because I didn't
Yep.
want to vote for them and I was targeted at a job for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. I am one of those people that it doesn't matter. I am non-binary. I am not trans, and
Mhm.
that again is one differentiation that
Yeah.
people do not
Listen,
understand.
listen. They still can't figure out Hispanic people and brown people. Like they just think
Well, that's true
you're
too.
below California. You're all the same because so we can't even they know man, woman, and
Yep.
non-binary already. You're twisted their brain in half. You know what I mean? And God
Yeah,
forbid you learn something. You know?
right? Like, and like, especially when you add, because like I have friends that are trans, and
hmm
I've had friends, they are not friends anymore, but I had former friends that would make jokes about trans people and would be a part of like the whole LGB without the T. And I was just like, no, say that in front of me one more time and see what happens.
hmm
Because trans people deserve to be seen, to be heard, and to be loved because they are who they are. And also,
hmm
again, just like the LGBTQ community in general, trans people make up, I think it was 1% of America's population.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, we are targeting them simply just for trying to live as their authentic self.
hmm
And if I had this conversation with a good friend of mine before that, if I ever went to a job just like what you were experiencing and any of that started flying, I have no problem quitting and I will go and work at a gas station. I will go and work wherever else that I
Essentially what I
need
did.
to.
Yeah, they didn't
If
fire me. I walked away.
yeah, I would much rather walk away than put up with that because I'm a marketing director full time and I'm not going to help make somebody money if that's how they're going to act towards community.
hmm Yep. Yeah. It was a great post. I think I stole your post the other day when you said about like we should openly like who are gay like gay businesses that are community
Yeah.
businesses that we should support because at least we know the money's going to someone who is legit in the community because the other these businesses who pretend they're about it, you know,
Yeah.
one couple days out of the year for one month, you know.
Yeah, and everyone's looking for like especially now for Christmas time, it's everyone's looking for Amazon and the instant gratification and everything. I can't say that I'm not guilty of that at times,
hmm
but if I can support a friend or a local business, I will much rather do that to
Yeah.
know that one, I'm helping to put food on their table, rather than giving it to a big corporation that's probably trying to get my rights taken away.
Yeah, they're probably funding it. Yeah.
Yep.
Listen, those chicken sandwiches are amazing, but I won't.
I was just about to say that. Yep.
So we kind of tackled the over adversities and stuff you overcome by doing what you do, but how long you haven't been on the scene like super long, right? Like what? How long have you been in the performing as a drag queen?
As drag, literally just 2 years this past November.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So the question here is do you feel like you hit a peak yet in your career, or you feel like you hit a moment where you're hitting another gear? Like where do you feel like self-assessment wise you are right now?
I mean, dear God, I hope I didn't hit my peak already. I don't know. For me, it's always growing and always trying something new.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm trying to find more places to have my own show at. I have a bingo set up right now at a venue called the Nine Collective, and they only opened a couple months ago, but they are an amazing retail shop that has vendors coming in selling their own items, but it's all like think witchy vibes and stuff like that. And it's just this amazing venue, but they wanted to give me a chance to try something new. So it's being able to do alternative drag there, which has been amazing.
Yeah.
But for me, it's trying to find more venues that I can not only perform as Alanis, but to be able to bring musicians in, to bring comedians in. I love putting on all types of events. And for people that want to partner with me and to, want to build up a community, I think is what I'm striving for. Because I grew up in Lancaster, Harrisburg area, and we don't have that. We have a lot of groups that try and do that, but it's like one-offs. I much rather try and build something lasting to the point where it's not just drag shows. It's bringing concerts. It's bringing festivals. It's bringing comedians. It's bringing cabarets. It's bringing musicals. It's trying to build up with a variety so more people feel a sense of community rather than just targeting one group, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I completely. So outside perspective, I seen you very or like at the sanctuary shows with the those the Trixie's shows. And I seen you perform, a great look and stuff, but you could definitely tell you were still new with some certain things. But I was like, oh, they're they were good, but like you could tell those shows are very easily to see who like knew who's medium level and then who's been doing it for a minute, and like they were very structured, like because it was also in competition style too, so you're right on the spot, and it's not like you can be on stage by yourself and kind of hide here and there, like you're kind of being put face to face, which is a great way for me to be introduced to drag. I thought that competition aspect was so much fun, but then from seeing you there, then seeing you in Harrisburg with Miss Misfit, I feel like from just that time there, I feel like you as like your presence was more confident in yourself. I felt like you conducted yourself a lot differently from that show, from this show, and like I feel like, not saying a peak, but you definitely hit a good plateau where I feel like you're more you felt more comfortable in your own skin. I don't know, at the sanctuary shows it felt like you were still kind of reserved maybe a little bit, but like you were helping run the show. You were not just there just to perform. Like you can tell you have and Miss Misfit I think is a great fit for you, that you guys are kind of buddying up, because I think your visions together are exactly what you said, is how can we build an entire community and then also use our art to help push that. Where I think a lot of people think, how can I be Trixie Mattel? You know what I mean? Like, and then you strive to be the best drag queen of all time. Where I feel like you and Miss Misfit are like, hey, we want to make this cool bubble, but we're also we kind of want our art to be a part of it. Like, is realistically, both of you also seem like people who run shows, but you make it more about everything else than you do as the host.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's I think for me, at the sanctuary, the two things that threw me off, one, again, for me, I struggle a lot with mental health. So
Mm,
that day, I actually almost called out because I was having a terrible mental health day.
mm.
So trying to get on stage to perform was like forcing myself, which to anyone watching, don't ever do that because it's not a good thing to do. But the other thing that threw me off was trying to perform on a wrestling stage.
A little squishy. And that one's very squishy.
I was not expecting it because it wasn't a trampoline, but it still had that like little bounce to it.
It's a memory
Where
foam mattress.
yes, and it's like
And not all
doing
wrestling
it
rings are like that. Most wrestling rings are very, very thin gym pads with plywood and steel underneath it.
oh shoot,
Yeah,
okay.
this place is way, 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 way about safety and protection. So they don't
Yeah,
want after years and years of doing it, it destroys
yeah,
your body. So
yeah.
yeah,
Well, and so does being a drag queen, all the death
absolutely. Yeah,
drops.
you just fall on the ground, so like just crazy.
But
I've watched
yeah,
you bleed. I've watched you bleed in a performance.
every time, every time I do. Although
Yeah,
I can't say that. I finally started, and I'm going to say this, and the next performance I do, I'm going to break my knees open. Somehow I break my right knee open to the point where I bleed every time.
that
I
I seen a right knee bleeder. That's what I seen that show. That was a right
yep,
knee. Yo, that was a slide across the floor, and you
yep,
stuck it on the right knee.
every time. Every
That
time. I'm gonna
callus,
need
that
knee
callus just
surgery by
grabs it.
35, and I just turned 32.
Yeah, you
But
developed a real thick callus on that right knee.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I think for Miss Misfit and I, like Miss Misfit is one of my best friends. She's my good Judy, and we constantly talk about wanting to build up that community. And what when for me, I think the difference between like what my shows are and even Misfit shows versus like the Sanctuary are, I don't know why, especially for doing musical theater, you're on a stage. So
Mhm,
like doing Rocky Horror at Mickey's Black Box, we're on a stage where people are literally have to like crank crank their necks up just to see us.
mhm,
But I think for me when I'm in drag, I don't like that. I'd much rather be able to mess with the audience, to be able to interact with them, to see the whites of their eyes just like they want to see the whites of my eyes. It's not a putting up on a pedestal. It's a I want you to interact and I want you to have fun, not just a I'm up here, you're down here type of
mhm.
situation. And I think especially for the way her and I do things, I think that it does show a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. You could I just from an outside perspective, I could tell that you guys are more big picture than you are putting yourselves over, and that's
Yeah.
yeah, like that's you guys are really cool as a friends. Like I think Fast Buds, that it's a great matchup. The universe have put two good people together. Um,
Absolutely.
So, what are some? You said you start running shows and you're doing stuff only 2 years in, which is cool too. 'Cause I think drags is another industry like pro wrestling where you're kind of trained that you got to pay your dues for like 15 years before you think you can run your own show in these parts. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and then you're like, no, my buddy owns a bar. They told us we can dance in it. We're doing
Yep.
it. Like,
Yep.
very DIY
Absolutely.
punk. I'm not playing the rules. And
Yep.
you and Miss Misfit are kind of that same vibe as well, and I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was told that before of like,
Yeah.
well, you're still new. Like, should you really be putting on your own? And it's to me, that's one that's ludicrous because
The truth
if
is, not that hard to put on a show. It's really not.
it's not. It's if you are meticulous enough to be
Mhm.
able to think things through, it's not complicated, especially for a
Yep,
drag show. It's
yep,
just finding the right venue and the right people to work with.
and a
And
PA.
yes, and a PA and
Yep,
a good
and a
PA.
PA.
Good PA. Good
Yep.
PA. But yeah, like I credit my mentor in college because I did programming and concerts and everything in throughout all 4 years. I sold out concerts with like Big Sean and We the Kings and Keenan Thompson and stuff like that. And it's being able to now apply that to drag shows and other shows that I'm trying to currently put on, of just trying to have fun with it. And I feel like that's what, even if you're a show promoter that's been doing this for 10 years, are you still having fun?
Mm-hmm.
That's the part that if you're not having fun and it's just like, well, we got another show in a month, we need to add these people, and then here's the marketing for it. Like, no, have fun with it. Like,
Yeah.
do something stupid, do something crazy. And that's what I feel like Misfit and I want to do and love to do. And I feel like that's where we do stand out, regardless if we've only been doing it for 2 years. I'd much rather be the black sheep and have fun with it rather
Yeah.
than trying to follow a herd.
Yeah. Or what happens if I run my show? I fail and then I
Yep.
learn from my failure and do another one. Like,
Yep.
you think one failure is gonna make me quit? I'm running the show next weekend. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Well, and it's just like performing in general. Like,
Yeah.
again, looking back at pictures and videos of my very first performance, I can't watch all the way through like a performance. Pictures I can glance at, but I can't actually look at them because it hurts me. But it's like, even me doing musical theater, I saw videos and pictures of me doing Rocky for the first time, and that was my first time being on stage since high school, which was 10 years. And I had self-conscious issues because of my weight, how I looked and everything. Versus now, it's just crazy. If I would have stopped 4 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do all these shows. Alanis Moresex might not even be a thing. So it's just keep pushing, even if you hate yourself or hate what you're doing. It's just that practice
Yeah.
that you just got to keep pushing through.
Absolutely. Who are some of your influences and role models when it comes to drag, on a professional level or a local level? When I say professional, I mean like TV people, right? That's like the pro
Yeah,
leagues. Yeah, yeah.
that's such a good question. I would, on the professional level, Jinx Monsoon.
I'm not sure if I know that one.
Um, you need to look her up because
Okay.
she's hysterical. She's
Are we talking like I'm gonna say the name wrong and I'm gonna get yelled at from the other room if she hears me? Katiana, or is it Katya?
Katya.
Katya. I don't know. Let's fuck it up. They are
I
the
hope
funniest
Lily
fucking
comes
human
in.
beings. Yeah. Katya is hilarious.
Yes. Oh my
I
god,
think
yeah.
funnier than Trixie, and Trixie's really funny.
Yes. Oh my god, Katya is like one of those people that you think half the time she's being dead serious, and then it's like cut 10 seconds later and she's like, what the fuck did I even just say? I don't even know where I am right now.
Who is flooding my TikTok now, and I don't hate it, and I want to start listening to the podcast. I think they said they're also a drag queen. Lily was telling me. But it's like I hate to like put the body first, but like a chubbier guy with glasses, really really funny. He has Trixie on sometimes. He's very dry and like he kind of very self-deprecating, but I think they're also a drag queen. But it's them, and they're like two girls is usually with them. Is it Caleb? I want to say Caleb.
Oh, that's not who I was thinking of then.
Hold
Oh
on.
god.
They're hilarious. They're so TikTok's already going on.
I was gonna say, I guarantee if I were to text Miss Misfit right now, she would probably know.
I think I found it. Caleb. It's only a podcast. Nobody cares. Nobody listens to this. Caleb Heron. The one on the left.
Oh no,
all over my TikTok. So
Okay.
fucking funny. The funniest.
I love
person.
that.
Yeah. That's how I found out about Trixie. I was watching Trixie videos on TikTok forever because interviewing drag performers, it just took over my news feed. I'm like, yo, they're fucking hilarious. They're funny. They're the best comedians on the planet. And then
oh my god, yeah.
Yeah,
no, I mean, yeah, Katya, absolutely. But Jinx, I think for me, when it comes to like people that I absolutely love, especially big names, is Jinx Monsoon, because
I was looking that one up.
She not only is she hysterical, because if you're looking for something funny to watch her All-Star Snatch game just on YouTube, and you will understand why I love her so much, because that was just like A+ comedy. But
Monsoon.
she's a singer. She has several albums out. She does Broadway. She was in Little Shop of Horrors. She was in Chicago, and she just got put in. I just saw this a little while ago that it's Pirates of Penzance that she's going to be starring in next on Broadway. So it's like being able to take one thing and then expand it to a bunch of different industries. That is just wild to me. But she's definitely a professional one that I look up to a lot. When it comes to local, Divinity is always one of my number ones. And like my friends, like I said, Icy Hottie, Trixie Valentine, Miss Misfit, and God, now I'm like drawing a blank. I'm so sorry to all my friends.
No,
Um,
you didn't make the cut.
yeah, I'm so sorry.
Deal with it.
But yeah, it's Sybil Stackhouse. It's they all have something different that they bring to the table.
These are the participation trophies. So if you're named after here, this is.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Everyone else, fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. That I will get canceled for later.
I could be catty too. I've watched drag podcast. I'm in. I know what to say. I know the zingers.
It's not shady. It's just called shade. But yeah, no, for all of them, like I've been able to learn so much from them. Like even Icy Hottie, she started just a little bit before I did. And to see how much she's grown in such a short amount of time, to the point where she has several shows between Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware. She's competing in pageants. She's going to conventions and having her own booth. Trixie competing in pageants. They were just in the Trixie. I'm so sorry if I get this wrong. The National Trans pageant that they were competing in.
Yep.
Divinity holds more titles than probably God at this point. Sybil is this insane mind that will breathe fire and then somehow slather herself in like an apple pie later. And yet it's still cunty enough that you can't not watch.
Yeah.
And it's all of them just bring this aspect that I love to emulate and to learn from, and to better myself as a performer, just because everyone that I can see that they perform around as an audience leaves with a gigantic smile on their face. They love the engagement. They love everything that they are doing. And I love to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm. Now there's different, I guess you would say, styles of drag, and it has different terminology and stuff. Where do you rank, like where would you rank your style of drag? And is there a style of drag that you maybe want to dip your toe in at some point and explore that aspect?
I would definitely say, and this actually goes back to another person that I absolutely love and adore, is their name is Got Mick from RuPaul's Drag Race. And they are definitely like the emo goth epitome for drag for me. And for them, it's bringing in that punk rock aspect to do different things that everyone else might do. And again, I'm going to get canceled for saying this, but doing a Lady Gaga mix or an Ariana Grande mix or something like that.
How dare you?
Where you go to the next show and somebody's going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But it's for Got Mick, but then for me, it's wanting to try something new and outlandish. It's trying to marry stuff that I love. I grew up, and again, this puts it past the Christian part, but I also grew up on AC/DC, Twisted Sister, Poison. Like
What?
I
How
I
did that
grew up on
sneak
that.
in?
Oh my God, yeah.
How did Twisted Sister get in the house? You had drag in your house very young. D. Snyder was in full-blown drag.
Absolutely. One of my favorite all-time 80s songs is Paradise City.
Yeah.
I jam out to that.
Motley Crue did drag on an album cover.
Yep. 80s rock bands, 80s hair bands were the beginning of drag. Sorry, RuPaul. Yes, they were the part. They started it.
And they sang too.
Yep. But yeah, it's trying something new, and that's especially for like the bingos that I do at the 9 Collective. I like to say that it's alt drag because I want to bring in other performers that might not fit a typical drag show, and to be able to do something different, to give them a space, even if that's not their normal style. If they want to try something, I will 1000% give them that platform that you can run with it. You can do whatever the hell you want. But yeah, I think for me, that's just trying something new. But on the end of the spectrum where I would want to try something is to honestly add more Broadway into it. To add more musicals, to do like large productions, choreography, backup dancers.
You're really cranking up the liberal art here. You're going.
Oh, absolutely.
Snap it off at 15.
I'm working on a project that I know that, like, obviously this is recorded, but I'm hoping by a certain inauguration, this project will be done because it's in protest to that. But literally putting together a music video where it's drag performers, it's women, it's trans individuals, it's non-binary individuals, it's people that are being disenfranchised by the new incoming administration that thinks that we should not be here, or that women should not have right of their own body, and being able to come together as a collective to put something out to say, you can say whatever you want. We're not going anywhere. And I think for me, that's what I want to do. Bring that Broadway riot type of style into it of, yeah, you can have fun. You can be stupid. You can be funny. But I also want to do something with it, with my voice. And I think, especially in these trying times, I think we need more of that.
Totally agree. So outside of photography and DJing and drag, which to me, I hear that's like a pop culture hodgepodge. You're into all of it. What are some hobbies or interests that you have that are outside of those realms? Like, what do you do to pass the time?
Oh God, that calls into question, do I have time to pass?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just lounging around as much as I can because I don't really get that chance. Watching movies, going to concerts, traveling as much as I can. I've been out of the country 3 different times, and I want to do that more. But then also doing art as well. I know this goes into the photography, but I'm currently putting together my own gallery where I haven't had a gallery since college. And I'm putting together this huge, elaborate gallery right now. And it's something that means a lot to me. And that's sort of how I'm filling my time. Is I like creating art no matter what I'm doing.
I love that. That's sick. And I better get the details on this art gallery.
Absolutely.
I will 100. Usually I'm booked every Saturday. So if it's a Saturday, I will try my best, but I'm not guaranteed. It's good that I'm being booked again. I'm very excited.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm back to I'm yelling at people. That's great. So every time you've ever seen at the sanctuary, you've never heard. So I did the commentary. So when you're watching wrestling, I'm the one like you hear the voice of. Okay. But I'm also like I teeter between a good guy and a bad guy. and sometimes when I don't like the person, I'm harder on them. And
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
so much fucking fun to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you hobby wise, are you like a gamer at all? Do you play games? Are you like, have you ever been like a gamer?
Every now and then I'm trying to get myself back into it. Like we were talking about this before we started, ADHD brain,
Yeah.
to the point where there are some times that I can sit there and I can play a game. Other times I can turn it on 10 minutes later and it's like the dog from the movie Up, where it's just like
Yeah.
squirrel. Something else grabs my attention,
You're
shut the game
TikToking.
off,
Yeah.
and do something else. It's the worst.
Yeah.
But every now and then I will play. I love playing Assassin's Creed.
Yes.
Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
I'm a Disney nerd. I love
You lost me
Disney.
there. Yeah,
I know.
Wow.
That's where I lose a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, Assassin's Creed.
You
I
had
also
to get
grew up.
family Assassin's Creed, but
Yeah.
not that gay Disney.
Right?
My right wing
But
character popped out again.
I also like my dad and my brother are mechanics, so I grew up at car shows. Again, I could write a book on how
You are
weird my
like a
life
Swiss.
turned out
You're
to
a
be.
Swiss Army knife.
Literally. I can that's also the one fun thing, especially if I'm going on a date with somebody that you get those icebreaker questions of like, tell me something about yourself that people might not know. And I was like, I can work on my own car. And like that just like is like the mind fuck of just like blowing people's minds, because I don't know why the stigma is there that gay people can't work on your own car.
Listen,
But when I say that, they're like, great, what's wrong with my car? I was like, I thought we were on a date, not me diagnosing your car.
Listen, if we were hanging out one day and you looked at me like, hey, sir with the beard and ponytail, can you fix my engine? I'm like, oh, ask them. I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I wouldn't, it would take me 30 minutes to find the latch inside the car to pop the hood.
Oh God.
I am not, yeah, I don't know shit about fixing anything.
I mean, granted, I
could barely change light bulbs.
Yeah, it's been a while since I had to do anything major. Like I worked in my dad's shop. I helped work on engines and transmissions and stuff like that. I work on my own car now. I hate doing it. It's not fun. I don't like it. I don't know why my dad likes it, but to each their own. But yeah.
You know how I fix cars?
When Send it to like
no, it depends on the bank account, but it depends if it's real bad and it's like noisy. I do this thing where I just turn the radio up louder.
You are not the only one.
And then when it's louder than my music, I'm like, I gotta get this checked out.
I was in my friend's car a couple weeks ago, and they had like 3 of their lights on their dash were on, and I was like, you should really get that checked out. And they're like, oh yeah, it's been like that for a couple months now. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
your car's gonna break down. I'm gonna have to come bail you out.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So if you were to give words of encouragement to anybody, we talked about a range of things. Like it could be just in photography, in drag, in wanting to be yourself and being afraid of a family situation. I mean, that's another aspect to this. What are some advice you would give to someone who's going through some of those situations?
I'll speak on, especially if you're coming out and you have family, whether they be immediate or extended, like my situation was. One, if you're looking at coming out and you think it's going to be negative, have a plan in place, whether that's going to stay with a friend, staying at a hotel, what have you. Make sure that you have a safe place to go. I tell people, even if like I've met people online that have never met them in person. This probably isn't the safest thing for me, but if they tell me, hey, I'm coming out to my parents, I'm really nervous about this, I will absolutely open my door because I know what it's like to have, granted, mine wasn't that bad to the point where I was kicked out. My parents did not kick me out. It was more so extended family, but I am currently working with friends of mine that they are trans and family will not accept. And it's gotten to the point where I say, if you would like me to be there, I don't care. I'll tell your family to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up for all I care. They're not my family. I don't care. But if you need somebody there to just hold your hand, I will be that person. If you need me to sit outside and take you home afterwards, I will be that person. If you just want to talk on the phone, I will be that person. But don't wait to don't wait until you're old enough. Don't wait until you hit a certain peak. Unless it has to do with your safety, obviously, then wait. But the one thing that I look back on frequently is just like we were talking about earlier, how long it took me to come out. Looking back, I knew very young. I tried praying the gay away. I tried doing all of that, delved even more into the church. Now I look back at it and I wish I wouldn't have waited, because I could have saved myself a lot of heartache. I could have cut a lot of people out of my life way earlier and didn't have to deal with drama. But yeah, for my advice is don't wait. Live who you are, not who you want somebody not live who you are. Don't live as somebody wants you to. Because all that's going to do is hurt you a lot more in the long run.
Yeah. And listen, if you're someone who's listening to this podcast, and even if it's for positive or not even the negative reasons, I'll take both sides of the comments. Just what you just described in 2024, and we're about to end the year going into 2025, is essentially trying to tell someone how to also put up a barrier and just survive in the world being who they want to be. Just like from the other side of the coin, just be better people. Like it's not that hard, people. Like I honestly, like I hate when people are like, I don't want to make it political. Fuck that. Make it political. Because people who are sitting there saying, I don't talk religion and politics, it's because you're a bigot and you don't want to actually say what you mean. Like if those are your talking points that you don't want to talk about, you're hiding some. I don't trust you. Be about it. You know what I mean? Like
it's the same people, like especially this past election, where if I have to hear, I still love you, but I voted for Trump.
Then you don't.
And
I'm sorry,
like,
you don't.
I was like, okay, great. You don't love me enough then, because and the fact that I have to continuously defend my life and my reason to loathe that man is insane to me. Just like you said, we're going into 2025 and it's gotten to the point where it used to be more accepting, where I thought we were on a uphill climb. We were finally making ends meet, where people, even if you disagreed, you still had faith and compassion for one another. And now
this
kind of
election
like a
tested
snowball
people's
backwards.
morals. It really, really showed people's morals. Like, were you more? No, listen, I don't even think this is even a valid reason anyway, because I think if you said this reason, you're just lying behind another cover. But if you're that worried about your money and making money or spending your money or grocery bills, and that still is a determining factor over people's rights, you're selfish, and that sucks. Like this was a morality test, and as a country, we fucking failed. We failed.
Yeah, because it's insane to me that we are at this point where, especially for the LGBTQ community, it's drag queens are pedophiles, whereas a lot of the people that are saying that are actually pedophiles and have been charged with it.
Yeah. Now, if you said you would have stuck with the church this whole time, I would have questioned
but yeah, it's like that kind of shit that I'm just like, you have these people that there's documented evidence. They're there are witnesses, there are
Flight logs.
testimonies. Like, oh, what'd you say?
Flight logs.
Yes, flight logs.
Phone calls,
Are
emails, photos.
somehow we got to the point where everyone else, like for me being a drag queen, like it's, well, this is what we believe about drag queens because this is what they are saying about you. But when 90% of the world is saying that about those people, then you're like, oh no, that's fake. That's fake news. That's just because they don't like that person. I'm like, so I'm an average person. So you're going to say that what they are saying about me is correct, but what everyone else is collectively saying about them is false. Like, that's the part that I'm just like, make that make sense to the point where I'm your neighbor. That person does not give two shits about you. Sorry, not sorry. He does not. So it's just like what you were saying, like have compassion and think things through and don't go with what you think you need to. It's like you said, it's the morality thing. It's being able to love one another again and actually have faith to the point where you don't have to justify your existence.
Yeah.
And I think that that's ludicrous to me that there are people that have to justify having the same human rights in 2025. Like, that's why we are a laughingstock right now for the world. Sorry,
I can't hire a dude at my job to literally take a heat gun and pull stickers off a box. But we just elected a 37 felonies and a rapist, like held liable for rape. And the country was like, but milk's gonna be $1 cheaper.
Like, all because, and I even said this, I posted this on Facebook, like immediately after the election, like once Kamala conceded and
hot thinking about
we
it.
knew I posted this and I was like, if you want to sit there and you want to make fun of us for crying, for being upset that Kamala lost, please keep this in mind that when your cult leader lost, you stormed the Capitol and started rioting where people died.
But you guys, but you rioted too. Yeah, over police brutality. There was
correct.
Not because we didn't get our way.
Yeah, and it's like I like my post was you're going to mock us for crying because you did this. You stormed the Capitol. People died. People are in jail. Some of them for a couple years. Some of them for way longer. We are crying because we are about to lose our rights. And but yet we are not storming the Capitol.
And we realize we don't have that many allies in our immediate country.
Correct.
Like I'm not even I'm a listen, all day long, all day ally, you know what I mean? But like it's fucking scary. It's fucking scary. Honestly, unless I hear someone like, "Hey, I'm gay," I'm like, I trust you more than anyone else in this room. Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because I'm the dude with the long hair, straight tattoos, and then I'm like, they're like, "Hey, brother, you going to the meeting?" I'm like, "Fuck no!" You know what I mean? Like, it's heartbreaking to know that you look to your right and you look to your left, and it's like probably 1 in 4 of those people voted for you as a person, and the other 4 voted because gas is $1 higher than it was last year. Like,
I don't understand it. I hope that what is playing through my mind for the next 4 years won't actually happen. And I really hope that after 4 years, we can finally get back to, honestly, human decency.
Yeah. It's because realistically, what's probably going to happen, and I'm going to keep it a buck. It's going to get bad before it gets worse. It's going to be awful. And it's the right's going to pivot so hard that it's going to topple on itself, because and it's historically happened numerous times even in our country, where when it gets to a boiling point like this, one or two things can happen. Either you settle down and go, all right, we fought really hard, because this election was a hard fought battle on both sides. Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, even harder than it's probably ever been fought before, because misinformation is the boiling point for each side. Like, well, my side told me this. Well, your side's lying to you. Well, your side's lying to you. And then we never get any common ground and they skyrocket. But
Yes.
if they don't find a way to start working with each other, and right now the Republicans have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. So they have a clear path to write anything into existence they want.
Yeah.
But if they don't keep bipartisanship at all, even though they have the power not to, the right's going to push super far, and like a teeter-totter, it's going to fall on its own head, and it's going to hurt that party for a very long time, but they're going to do irreparable damage. And that's usually when a Democrat gets elected and they try their best to fix it for 8 years, and then it goes back and forth again for a while.
Yeah.
If you don't believe me, you can read a book. It's all in there.
Well, and another funny thing, because I want to throw this in there, because I got into an argument with somebody before that I can't believe we were having the argument, but it's to the point where not all Republicans, to me and to a lot of people, especially after this election, are bad. That's not the case, because it's just like when people say, when certain Republicans want to say Democrats are bad, it's he said, she said, they said, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's to the point where what are you voting for? Because that was the other thing, was I asked a lot of people, okay, if you're voting for him, why? Like, and don't say because you think things will be cheaper. Say because of gas, because a lot of those things aren't controlled by the presidency. It's those types of things, like we were saying earlier, about why are you voting for this particular issue over my right to continue to get married, or my right to good health care, my right to not be discriminated against at a workplace for being gay or being non-binary. It's like, why is that a higher issue for you versus those items for me? And that's just what it ultimately comes down to. It's taking the words Democrat and Republican out of the equation, and it's just putting those on blast of why.
Yep. I mean, that's just one of many issues. I mean, like,
absolutely.
Yeah, you can go straight to women, you can go straight to trans people, you can go to people of color, you can go to people who were told they were American citizens most of their life that can lose their citizenship tomorrow. You know, like people who've lived here their whole lives because they were brought across the border when they were a baby and didn't even know, and can turn around and get kicked out of the country they lived in for 40 years. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's wild to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. It's definitely so. If you're wondering, hey, why don't you just all record this? It's November. yeah. This isn't a December.
Everything is very fresh for us.
We're both very salty with, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's last question here, and boy, it's not an easy one to ask after that rant.
Oh God,
it is. I mean, listen. At the end of the day, I think, and this is where I feel like I really I'm drawn to you and Miss Misfit, is even in these times of shit and despair and looking like there's no future. It's been shit, despair, and broke for most of us in this punk rock lifestyle for a very long time. I'm ready for it. Bring it on. We've been here before, but what are you grateful for in these moments, and are you currently happy?
God, that's best. An excellent question, especially after we just talked about all of that. I mean, am I happy? No, I'm salty. But no, it's for me, I'm happy with who I am. Like, there are parts of me that I wish I can change. Again, I've been suicidal most of my life. I struggle with mental health most of my life. And there's always parts that I look at that just keep me in that state. However, looking back to who I was even 10 years ago when I was fresh out of college, who I was when I was in college, in high school, middle school, whatever, I am much happier now because I'm able to be who I am. I'm able to have my own voice. I'm able to uh, fight for what I want to fight for, who I want to fight for. I'm able to dress how I want, regardless of what some asshole's going to say that I'll knock their teeth in tomorrow. I don't care. And again, I'm probably going to get
The
canceled
three
for
they
that
have
too.
left. The three they have left. All right.
But yeah, I think ultimately, I think the other thing that I'm happy for too is the friends that I've made, the relationships I've been able to cultivate over the years, especially just in the last couple of years. Um, I don't have many people. I talked to one person from high school, and they are also gay. So there's that. And I graduated in a class of 22. So that's not really saying much. But other than that, I don't talk to anyone else other than my two cousins. No one from my quote unquote past life I have any communication with. My best friend of 5, 6 years now. Jeez, I'm so sorry, Katie. Um, but it's from her to my recent friends like Miss Misfit, and having them in my life to the point where I don't know, it's fun, it's interesting, it's something new. I that's what I love. I love any part of that. So having those individuals in my life that keep things interesting, even whether you just had a baby, uh, you just went to college, we're all at different stages. And I think for me, that's the beautiful part of I'm able to experience those differences
Mhm.
with a variety of different people.
Yeah. I love that for you, by the way. That's amazing. It was beautifully said. The last thing I want to close out with here, everyone, is I know it's you're getting your November message. It's close to the end of December, but your boy is pre-recorded. But listen, if whether you're in the community, whether you're a person of color, whether you're a disenfranchised person, it it is 2024, and great steps have been made, and there's a lot of people who put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and went through a lot of horrible things so you can even be an ounce more comfortable than they were a moment ago, and during their times. And I know times look tough, and I know times look terrible, but we can't let that hate take over. Like, at the end of the day, too many people work too hard to make people be able to dress how they want to dress, and even to be who they are right now. You know what I mean? So we can't let them win with hatred. We have to keep loving one another and stick together now more than ever. Whether you're in the community, you're an ally, or take what you can get at this point in time. Because once again, the country just showed us that our numbers are small. You know,
Mhm.
and but don't take no shit, but stick to the ones that you need to stick by now. Now is not the time to cut people for petty reasons. You know what I mean? Because it's a tough year, but we're gonna end this year tough. We're gonna end this year strong. We're gonna come back, and we're gonna stick it through. We've all been here before. You know what I mean? And we got it. And as long as we have each other's backs, everything's going to be all right. Go out there and find your tribe. If that's what you need at this point in time too. Maybe you lost your whole family because of this election. Maybe you lost them because you had different views and opinions of everything we talked about. Go find your tribe. We're out here. Go to your
Mhm.
local drag show. Go to your local punk show. Come to your local wrestling show, and just
Mhm.
be open and honest. Tell someone, hey, I came here because I just need some friends. That's all you.
Mhm.
I promise you, it sounds stupid to say, but that's all you'd need to say, and you're gonna find 15 people right then and there, because those are the places you're going to find amazing people, and you're going to find your next group of friends and your next tribe, because we need it now more than ever. I love you so much, Tyler, Alanis. I don't know which one to call. I hate it. I'm probably going to stick. So as a wrestling thing, if I meet you in gimmick, you're
Yeah.
your gimmick name forever. So you're
Oh, no,
probably
you're
going to be
good.
Alanis forever for me.
Yep.
But I really appreciate this conversation. I love you to death. Your growth is amazing. I'm proud of you. I'm thankful to hear more of your story and feel even more connected to you. And we got to hang out more often. All right,
Absolutely.
let's go do some stuff. You know, I know you don't lounge around. You're traveling the world. I get it. You know what I mean? But come back down to the dive bars with the rest of us. All right.
Oh, hell yeah. We'll do some tequila shots next time I'm there.
I don't really do shot. I'll drink beer. Shots get me in trouble.
I mean, fine. That's fine too.
Yeah. All right.
But no, thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it. I love you too. And yeah, can't wait to hang out again soon.
We're definitely gonna do that soon. I'm gonna come back out to that scene up to the Harrisburg area and see more shows. I gotta say, I love all the drag performers I've met. I'm very happy that I've taken this route, because even in this world of political nonsense, the reason I started interviewing drag queens and adding drag performers alike to my content reel, not just because it was 1 month a year like everybody else did, is because this scene needs to be heard, because there's so much information about them and they're amazing people, and their stories need to be showcased as much as any other scene. And I'm always down to learn more about other scenes. But yeah, that's essentially it. Just go support people, go show love. Links are below to follow both of us on social media. If do you have merch pages or anything like that yet?
Not yet.
We got to get that going.
Not yet.
Actually, I put it on. So I had my old school podcast had like a 10-foot table that was all sticker bombed with people's stickers. And then we have a smaller table now that we take to shows, and we're trying to recreate a smaller version. And my Misfit stickers were just put on there. I think, I think it's the only drag stickers I have. I don't think anyone else really had any that I met so far. But
I was gonna say that's my next thing is to do stickers. Everyone keeps telling me just to do a sticker, and
I wouldn't do sticker though.
That. So yeah,
as a sticker person, I wouldn't do stickers.
Really?
You know what's cheaper now than stickers? Buttons and pins.
That's fair.
And you can pin them anywhere and you'll have them longer than a sticker.
That's true. But what are you going to put on your table then?
Then make stickers too.
I'll make one just for you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. We'll see you guys on the next one. We're out of here. And also, if you want to be a guest, links are below as well. I want to talk to everybody. Please come on the show. If you think someone's going to be a good guest, recommend. Word of mouth is how we grow, because we're punk rock, and that's how we're doing it. See you guys later.
See ya.